Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and you are watching not 24 videos in 24 hours, now 25 videos in 24 hours. More videos than most channels put up in a month's time because, hey, I don't know how much time we got left on this platform as at midnight tonight, the terms of service changes, and if your channel's not commercially viable, well, they have no obligation to host that video. Joining me to discuss this and many other issues is Lee Stewart, who has done some great work with Press for Truth, but you may know her from the recent Niagara Falls snow. Epstein didn't kill himself. I guess you call it a meme now, but I'm calling it a video. It's a little video presentation that I thought was rather clever. Lee, how are you? And before we get into this topic, how did you get started in independent media?
Wow. First of all, Jason, thanks so much for having me on your show. Me and you kind of go way back. I've known you since, you did Loose Change back in the day. I mean, that's putting, it's dating myself there. But, this Epstein didn't kill himself thing is not a meme, like you say. It's the truth. And I'm glad it's gone viral. And, what woke me up? I'd have to say 9/11 was a huge one for me. Yeah, knowing that what the mainstream media was telling us isn't what in fact was happening that day.
So 9/11 happens, you kind of see some of the alternative media, the questions, and you begin questioning things. When did you decide to, get active? Because that's the thing. A lot of people see this stuff and they kind of regress. Right? They kind of regress into their own little internet chat rooms and holes, and then there's confirmation bias. There's very few people that actually step up to the plate and start confronting politicians, going to events, doing blogs, doing vlogs, making videos that matter. So what triggered that response?
I was questioning things about 9/11, and I went online on YouTube. When YouTube back in the day was somewhere where you could go to get away from television. Now it's turned into television. You could find real information on YouTube. And I remember just looking up stuff like about 9/11 or what else has our government lied to us about? Because I wasn't believing the official narrative. And, I came across information. That's how I found Dan Dix of Press for Truth. We've been friends for years. And I saw that he was in my area doing activism and seeing 9/11 and discovering all these other things that came off the coattails of 9/11 really lit the fire underneath me to let people know what was going on. That was the big thing for me, is that I wanted to wake everyone up. I needed to spread the word as far as I could to get people to wake up and see what is really going on.
And you are part of, in my opinion, the premier alternative media organization in Canada. You are my neighbor to the north. I don't know much about Canadian politics, but I do know to pay attention when you and Dan are doing stories. So what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions for people in the States are regarding your region and your geopolitical process?
Misconceptions. I don't think a lot of people talk about Canada, or they know a lot about Canadian politics, and that's unfortunate because in Canada, we're taught a lot about the U.S. and how your political system runs. But I find that not a lot of people know about Canadian politics and how far gone this country has gone in the past, I'd say 4 years. More than that, but at an exponential rate in the past 4 years under Justin Trudeau, we have seen this country literally go down the tubes as far as freedom of speech. As far as we just had an election where it was blatantly rigged. I mean, I called it a selection leading up until the election just this past October, because Justin Trudeau had put things in place that were screaming, this election is rigged. As far as censorship online, buying off the mainstream media, spending millions of taxpayers' dollars, and this is why taxation is theft, is because we have no say in where our tax dollar goes. He bought off the mainstream media. He hired, people online to spread the word about politics. He hired people to police the internet to make sure that the narrative was going a specific way. And I don't know if you're aware, or your audience probably is well aware of our open border that's in Quebec right now, where people are streaming across the border illegally, entering this country. And that was all started by a tweet that he did. And the people who are coming over here are being housed on the Canadian taxpayers' dollar, when we never asked for that. We were never asked if this is what we wanted. And they were allowed to vote in this election with no ID. It was called vouch voting. And this is how he got back in, I believe, anyway. It's just unbelievable. And the laws that are being passed, I mean, you can no longer misgender somebody, or else you could go to jail. There's been several cases, where people have been misgendered and are currently sitting in court. I mean, I think you remember the Jessica Yaniv thing. Yeah, you briefly touched on it, where the whole wax my balls thing.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a woman. It might have male genitalia, might have the XY chromosome combination, but no, it's a woman, and you should be treated as such. And it's very alarming to me that the speech laws have gone as far in your country as they have. But on top of that, it also seems like parental rights have gone by the wayside also in this country, when the parents no longer have anything to say about life-changing surgery that is completely irreversible, that totally changes your biological anatomy but does not change your gender. Parents no longer have a say in that, do they, Lee, in Canada?
That's specifically Bill 89 in Ontario, where if a parent doesn't help their child with transitioning to the opposite gender, with beta blockers or like you said, surgery, if you don't help your child, the government will actually step in and take your child away from you. Like that's totalitarian. That is like that's just insane to me and terrifying. And even if the child goes to school and expresses to their teacher or whatnot that they don't feel comfortable and that the parents are neglecting to help them in support of changing their gender, then the school intervenes. And this is why I encourage homeschooling, because like you said, parental rights are dwindling by the day, literally in Canada right now.
And it's damn shameful. I have to ask you, as you are the other part of Press for Truth, I was trying to get Dan. We couldn't make it happen in the time scheduling. But, I have talked to Dan about the channel, the fact that it has been completely demonetized, that YouTube refuses to tell Dan what content is causing this to happen. So I've got to ask you, the terms of service, it's up. You guys have over 250,000 subscribers. Do you expect to be memory hold within the near future because of these terms of service? Or do you think that they're going to, let you kind of trot along the way you have and just continue to try to suppress your views by going the next video to CNN or Fox News like they do with my channel?
Dan, Press for Truth and Dan were one of the first ones to be censored online, along with Ford Fisher of News to Change or News to Share. News to Share, right. I always get his and Luke's mixed up. Mm-hmm. Those were the first two amongst a few others of mainstream or independent media to be memory hold by YouTube and have the monetization taken away. And I think for sure Press for Truth's views have dwindled. I believe that they're suppressing comments, they're suppressing views on purpose, manipulating numbers to make it look like no one's watching, to discourage people, unsubscribing people. We've seen that as well, where people don't even know that they've been unsubscribed. And this is, when you're over the target, this is what happens to independent media. And this is why it's so important to support people like Dan and Ford, who have lost their livelihood because YouTube is no longer supporting them or propping them up. And like you said, they'll promote mainstream media. I mean, you Google something like Epstein and mainstream media links will come up first, and you'll have to go through so many thumbnails to find an alternative opinion about these things. And that's why I always encourage people to diversify and get online, different platforms. There's a ton of different platforms. DLive is one of them. BitChute is another great one. I'm sure your audience knows. You well inform your audience. They're a bunch of smart people. So yeah, I just encourage people to diversify. That's the solution, and they kind of want us in our own little corner, which is discouraging to kind of preach to the choir. And I also encourage people to stay on platforms like YouTube for as long as possible, so that we're able to reach, the masses. That's our goal. And if we are censored online, the next step is to stand on a soapbox in the middle of the street and never stop talking truth. That's the important thing, is not to be discouraged.
Pressfortruth.org is the website. Lee Stewart does great work there alongside Dan Dix. If there's one topic that my audience should be aware of right now that they might not be, and yeah, they are a sharp audience, what is that topic that you'd like to talk about right now?
Oh my gosh. That's a huge one. Epstein, obviously, well, Epstein is a huge one to talk about. But I think, a lot of things that are going on in Canada, I mean, we could use a lot of help up here. There's not a lot of us that are speaking truth, and, just about our open borders, because we know that the plan is one world government and globalization. And, once you start looking into every single country, I mean, Europe is far gone. Canada's not far behind. And, the United States is not far behind us. And it's happening at an exponential rate. Now they're coming after our guns here in Canada. And I've seen, the same thing happening to the Second Amendment. So if you look at the agenda on a big picture, it's almost like, all the countries need to help each other out in spreading information. Sharing the information is the most important thing, especially helping people like you who are trying to get the word out about specific topics. I think I would say Epstein is probably the number one thing, because we've been talking about this for ages, and we were finally proven right. I mean, I remember being called a conspiracy theorist when I would say that there were pedophiles inside the government and inside these upper echelons. And now it's like, yeah, I told you so. Like, it's like we get to say, I told you so. We're no longer these tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. It's now come true, and we can't let this story die or go by the wayside, because, it's so important.
It's had a huge effect,
don't let it go.
And we shouldn't let it dwindle out. We shouldn't let them control the narrative, because you're right. I can't tell you how many text messages I got when Epstein was originally arrested, and the next morning when I was getting coffee, people coming up to me going, dude, Epstein, oh my God, you've been talking about this forever. And finally, we made a little leeway, and then, it'd take too long to get into what happened after the fact and all the facts surrounding. That's why I have over 100 videos on Epstein on this channel. We're doing 25 today, not 24, in 24 hours. You can follow her at Lee Stewie on Twitter. Pressfortruth.org is the website. How else can people support you, Lee?
I'm mostly on Twitter. I'm going to be making more videos. I've kind of taken a break after the election. I've the Canadian election was a crazy time, and exposing everything, all the corruption, and Justin Trudeau is it weighs on your heart and your mind, and it's a lot to take in to even think that your government is capable of the things it's doing to the people. And so I've kind of taken a back seat, just enjoying life. Our parliament has just gone back into session just at the beginning of December. So I'm going to be starting making videos soon again. Like you said, pressfortruth.ca is the website. Oh. It's not org, but you can find information there. And I do have my own YouTube channel. I haven't been posting on there, but I do plan to in the future. And like I said, I'm so happy that you had me on, because we go way back. I mean, we chilled at Bilderberg, and we got to do a Bilderberg together. It was so much fun. That was my first Bilderberg.
And you know what? That was my first thing in a long time. And you were firebranded. You were one of the first, only people there that was level-headed, that was challenging some of the narratives that were turning my stomach. People can check those videos out. Lee, you've got to come back on the program. I know it took me quite some time to get you on the program, but I'm going to be pestering you more and more to come on the channel. I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Jason. We'll talk soon, for sure.
Thank you so much. And folks, like I said, we're doing it 25 times in 24 hours. Originally 24, we snuck another one in there for you. Mixed Martial Mindset with John Fitch coming up at the top of the hour. Then at 7 p.m., we have comedian Graham Elwood on. You can see all my documentary films for free here. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade, the motion picture. I do it all for free. If you want to support my work, this is how you do it. It's through the GoFundMe, $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me, and hopefully it's going to help me grow this operation. And I'm hoping that I'm still going to be here despite the new terms of service that starts at midnight tonight, and the whole reason we're doing this 24-hour broadcast. Guys, I'll see you soon on the flip.